The Echo Plateau. Context within the Ringworld function. An ancient activation or communication center. The concentric circles on the plateau could be some form of control symbols or resonance patterns that interact with the ring-like structure in the distance. The ring in the distance. No ordinary structure. It could be a portal, a force field projection unit, or even a consciousness projector. It may be part of the system that regulates the ringworld's gravity and atmosphere, or a remnant of its builders, the ancients. Legend. The mythology of the ringworld's inhabitants tells us that the ring opens, only for those of clear heart and true purpose. The Echo Plateau serves as a touchstone. If you stand there and speak the truth, the ring will respond with an echo. Environment. The surrounding cliffs and canyons could be remnants of geological remodeling processes created by the construction of the ringworld. The fog in the canyons may conceal further secrets or provide access to deeper layers of the structure. Name, echo, could refer to a resonant memory. The plateau stores past thoughts or voices. Perhaps it responds with fragmentary voices of those who once stood there. It could utilize some form of quantum resonance technology to reflect remnants of consciousness or information. The legend of the Echo Plateau. He who stands in the center may know silence. For only in it will the echo of the ancients speak. So begins the oldest tradition of the Serenai. A people who have lived for eons at the edge of the cliffs, within sight of the gigantic ring that cuts through the horizon. The ring, it is said, is not a mere monument, but a seal, erected by a forgotten civilization, the Builders, whose thoughts traverse the stars and whose works transcend time and space. The plateau is their resonating stone, a place where will and truth manifest. The Builders believe that every conscious decision, every spoken word, creates a vibration, and that some places can preserve those vibrations. The prophecy, when the heavens fall silent and the ring opens, an echo will speak of the first sound. And whoever understands it will open the gates of memory. Many believe this is the key to the heart of the ringworld, a place where knowledge, power, or even immortality lies hidden. But the echo only answers those who come with a pure mind and an open heart. Legend speaks of 3 trials presented by the echo. 1. The trial of voice. Speak, and the echo will measure your truth. Lie, and you will be forced to remain silent. 2. The trial of step. Walk the circle, but do not deviate. Only those who remain true to the inner path will reach the center. 3. The trial of gaze. Look into the ring. What you see does not show the world, but your true self. The goal had been achieved. Farewell to the ringworld was imminent. For Kaelys, it was more than just a farewell to the ringworld and Serenai. She was to become what Nova was here. A new life alongside these 5 women who made it possible for her to return and, at the same time, to be allowed to. Kaelys knew this feeling of fear very well, but she knew she wasn't alone. She was accompanied by one of the oldest Elyari she had ever seen, the oldest she had ever experienced. Only this Elyari hadn't been aware of how they had met. Now, on this threshold, Nova knew very well who she really was. She couldn't and didn't want to stay. Taking Kaelys with her because it was Kaelys' greatest wish, she could reconcile that with herself. The other crew members stood behind Nova and now behind Kaelys as well. It was only a few steps to this stone-carved ornament where Kaelys' return and farewell would take place. The air around the plateau was filled with a hum, with a slight vibration emanating from this ring gleaming in the sun. The mists disappeared into the canyon on either side of the plateau. The haze remained in the distance, as if trying to obscure the view of something. Kaelys walked toward this circle, stood still for a moment, turned to Serenai, and looked at her deeply as if to say she was sorry. Then she turned to Nova and looked at her as if to say, "In a minute, I'll be like you and we can go." She entered the ring, which then began to change. The otherwise flat plateau changed with it. The stage was set for Kaelys' return. She began to manifest. From the spirit in this mystical light emerged the silhouette of a young woman in her early 30s. The manifestation was complete. She hadn't yet fully become what Nova was. It would only take a little while, and she was like her. Serenai had still stayed close to her. The farewell of Kaelys Virell'an-vu-Tyrai. Amid the last light she stood, Kaelys, last of the Tyrai line, whose voice bent even the ring. No one has ever trod the Echo Plateau quite like Kaelys Virell'an-vu-Tyrai, High Seer of the Spindle Tongues, keeper of the dividing line between the worlds. As her home fell, in fire, in light, in silence, she led the last of her people to that ancient place that was said not only to listen, but to remember. She did not speak. She sang. A song she had known only in dreams. A melody from distant times, from those who had once built the rings, before memory became history and history became legend. As she stepped into the center of the circle, the stone trembled beneath her feet. The echo did not answer immediately. It waited. And as the final note faded, the ring opened. Not a portal in the classic sense, but a tear in the fabric of certainty. Some say she was made of light. Others claim she vanished backward into time. Only one thing is certain. Kaelys left her world, but her voice remains in the stone. Those who can sing as she did, will find the path again. Echo the Serenai say that sometimes, at dusk, when mists creep across the plateau, a single, clear note can be heard on the wind. High, silvery, mournful. They call it the echo of the Tyrai. The bravest try to find the song. But no voice has ever opened the ring again. Not yet. The shuttle's departure, not with a clap of thunder did they leave the world, but on wings of light. Spun from memory and courage. The last flight from Echo Plateau as the heavens thickened, and the ring world began to change its ancient patterns. It was Kaelys Virell'an-vu-Tyrai who realized that something awakening slumbered beneath the surface. With ancient texts only she could read and voices only she could hear, she knew. The time of the Tyrai was over. The crew of the Velvet Horizon now consisted of 6 beings, each from a different edge of the known. Kaelys, whose voice opened gates and called the shuttle Selene Arcanis, River Kami aka Tenora D, Lyra Doran, Zara Tulovic, and Nova Ileana, the moment of transition as the stars above the Echo Plateau aligned in an impossible alignment. A beam of light descended, not from above, but from the ring itself. No fire, no sound, just a silent pulsation. Like a heart. The shuttle materialized where no one had seen it land. Kaelys didn't sing, she whispered. The stone responded, the engraving began to glow. And in one last glance over her world, which she would never see again, she said, "What we leave behind shall not be lost. Let those who seek us ask the echo." And they left the world. With a sound like the memory of a sound that never came, the velvet horizon vanished. All that remained was the plateau, and a faint, persistent tone, deep beneath the earth. The Serenai preserve it in their songs. They call it the harmonic imprint. The day Kaelys was allowed to leave, she could have stayed. She could have sacrificed herself. But for the first time, someone chose her. The Echo Plateau vibrated softly as the shuttle's engines approached. Dust and fog danced in the rising displacement wave as the Velvet Horizon's small landing module gently touched down, not a heroic arrival, but a silent act of choice. Kaelys Virell'an-vu-Tyrai stood now alone in the center of the ancient stone circle. Her robe fluttered in the wind, Her eyes rested on the opening hatch, and for a moment, she looked like a part of the place, not a visitor, but a pillar of the place itself. But then someone stepped out of the fog around the plateau. Serenai, silent as breath, with her hand outstretched. Kaelys, she said, the world owes you nothing more. You may go. Kaelys was silent. She could have objected, could have said that her task here wasn't finished, that she was a guardian, not a refugee. But then she raised her eyes to the sky, saw the eternal ring in the distance, and the shuttle beyond it, on the flat stone of the plateau, like a promise never spoken. She nodded. She stepped. She walked. She left the Echo Plateau. Ascension. As the shuttle lifted off, the fog followed it briefly, as if it could hold her fast. But then it slid into the shaft of ascension, into the main ship, into the velvet horizon, into a future she had never been allowed to take. The ringworld remained silent. Only the stone she had stood on was warmer than before, as if someone had said goodbye. Kaelys, inner monologue, I was the end of something. Now I am the beginning of everything I don't yet understand. I have heard the echo. Now I want to know who I am when no one calls it for me. Kaelys, beyond seeing, the world had told her to look. Now she began to feel. The obituary. The days on Wanderer Station were now numbered. They could return to the velvet horizon and leave the station behind. Now there was one more on board. Kaelys, who had been on board many times before, began to change further. For the crew, Kaelys became more and more tangible. Her ears shrank, her skin began to take on a normal skin tone. The staff she still had on the plateau dissolved completely. The crystal at the tip split. One half disappeared back to the ringworld, the other half remained with Kaelys with a gentle glow. This crystal would accompany Kaelys from now on, her entire life. Kaelys was now a person with special powers on board. She would never lose them again. Her memory of her old home should not be lost. It should remain deep within her. The memory of Serenai sometimes caught her unexpectedly. The more she developed like Nova, the more emotions she received back. From a spirit that was initially barely visible, only tangible, but which became increasingly clear over the course of the crew's stay on the ringworld. She had now become this young woman who would become an integral part of the crew from now on. The manifestation of Kaelys Virell'an-vu-Tyrai. The first stop was Kaelys. It was also likely the last stop for the crew as active members of the fleet. These missions had left their mark. But let's see what came of it.